All right. I just clicked let's go live and we're live. We're live. We're streaming.
Looks like we
Tom,
are. Let's
welcome.
verify. Let's verify that.
Yes, you check on that. I will introduce everybody or say hello, my friends. I am Anthony Oquindo, and this is The Cut, and I got my co-host here, Tom. Tom, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? All right. So just a quick introduction of today. We're going to be talking about mind control, money, and minorities. The 3 M's. And first thing we're going to be talking about mind control is, oh, we are live. Hey, look at that.
That was on YouTube. I'm checking the Facebook link.
All right, you do your thing.
So don't rush me. Damn it.
Oh, I think we're good, Tom.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
We're good on Facebook too?
Yeah, we're good on Facebook
Ooh,
too.
I love it. I love it when we're good because you know what?
Too.
Technical difficulties suck.
They're a bitch.
All right, so
all right, let's get just like right into it.
Yeah,
there's
dude.
a lot to talk about.
And we don't have a whole lot of time to get to all this.
No, we
And I
don't.
think it's going to take us a minute to really go over something.
Yeah,
a couple of these in particular.
Absolutely.
So let's just do it. All right. So the first on the day, mind control.
Mind control.
Imagine not being able to move or control anything on your body but your brain. That is mind control.
Yeah.
And that mind control can now be translated into actual control of electronic devices, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just from thinking about it.
Just thinking.
Now, so what we're talking about is we're talking about Neuralink. Neuralink, so there was a video that was posted on X, and this Neuralink participant was shown on video playing chess and operating a computer with his brain.
Now the thing about the gentleman, he's a complete quadriplegic. So quadriplegia, paralyzed from basically the shoulders down. And he's playing chess on his what looked to be a Mac computer, maybe.
We can play the video. Yeah, I mean, we can even because I think it's actually something we should see because it's pretty impressive.
Amazing.
Pretty impressive.
It's very amazing. I mean, what Elon Musk and his company it was like the very top. It was the very top.
That's what I thought too.
Just having Neuralink up there, probably.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. But I mean, he's literally on there controlling his computer and playing chess with his mind. And here's the video. We found the video right there.
Yeah,
this is the same video.
It is. This is a 9-minute video. Let's see if we can find something a little bit shorter.
A little chopped down.
Yeah, something condensed. Let's just go back.
Right here.
Here's a 20-second
20-second clip. You'll get the idea here. While we wait for this to load.
All right. No, I just want to make sure it was going to show up on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and watch and listen to this.
It just became intuitive for me to start imagining the cursor moving. Basically, it was like using the force on a cursor, and I could get it to move wherever I wanted. Just stare somewhere in the screen, and it would move where I wanted it to, which was such a wild. I think it just became intuitive for me to start imagining the cursor moving.
Now there is a
basically, it was like
there's a longer video that
there is a
longer
video. Yeah.
And in that video, he basically just details how it wouldn't have even been possible before. He is this young man is a big fan of the Civilization video game. So I don't know if you know much about Civilization.
I've never.
So Civilization
is it like The Sims?
No, it's more like that game Risk that you would play, like conquering different countries and everything, but it's very fast paced. And he said, like, hey, the first time I could do that, I was up till 6 a.m. playing it. And I mean, you don't really think about it like as people like that are more able-bodied like you and I mean, if we had a game, I remember when you and I would play Call of Duty like after work, and we'd play it till like 2 a.m. We'd be playing zombies, right? But he detailed how he needed help previously, and he couldn't ask his parents to stay up till 2, 3 in the morning with him playing Civilization. So this is even something as simple as like a video game, just gives him that happiness again. And it starts small, you know, at like anything, it's going to start small with just being able to play chess and maybe manipulate his computer. But what applications, when he gets a little bit more versed, is he going to be able to do? I mean, we talked about it as kind of like telekinesis, right?
Right.
Well, anytime you watch a superhero movie, anytime you read a book, you know, whoever has the telekinesis or superpowers, it's kind of weak at first. You know, they can move something around.
Like,
What's he going to be able to do when he develops that muscle a bit more? You know what I mean?
Right.
It might be full autonomy for him, you know?
See, that's pretty... I just think this technology is absolutely remarkable, bro. Like, it is absolutely insane.
Well, we were... But before this video, we were scrolling through X, and there was a headline I read, and it was Elon Musk saying, in theory, we could make it so a man who was born without sight can see with Neuralink.
Did we talk about that last time?
We did not talk about that?
Time.
No. I think that's very interesting, and I think it's a very bold statement.
That is so I watched a video on that, and let me see real fast if I can find the video. But I mean, if this is possible,
I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Why do you think so? Or why do you not think so?
The eyes are a muscle, just like anything else.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't think you understand how Neuralink would help the blind see.
Maybe I don't, but here's what I know. Like for my son, right? My son's never been able to walk or anything, right? And he's 9, he's going on 10. Let's say you put Neuralink in there, right? In my son. There's no way my son will be able to walk with Neuralink, man. There's no way. He's never used those muscles. They're like atrophied almost.
Okay,
I would say.
Naturally walk? No. Actually walk? Yes.
Well, Wyatt has a thing that we can put on our legs and strap in where we can walk with him.
Yeah, so I mean, but he's not the one controlling it.
No. But there's other things that he can get that help him walk, that simulate him walking. He doesn't have it, but there's this little boy that we follow on Facebook who he's kind of like Wyatt, and his mom does a lot with this company in Texas, and it's they hook him up, and it's like robot legs pretty much, and it lets this little boy walk. Now I don't understand, but I don't know if this little boy, his name's Elijah, if he's actually comprehending what's going on, because he's still really little, you know. But I just don't know. I think it's very bold statements when Elon goes on there and says, oh, we're going to be able to help people see, we're going to help them walk. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go into that, man, and you might be giving false hope.
But I don't think so. I think if you understood why or how it cures a blindness, I don't think you'll really say that.
Oh, I want it to work.
Okay,
I want it to work more than anything.
I wish there were. I watched this video, and I wish I knew exactly where it was. Is this it? This is it. Yes. All right. And I think this is. I think this is the spot I want. So let's check this out here.
Tap it in.
16 electrodes for a total of 1,024
So these electrodes go in the brain
that work as both input and output for the N1 implant device. The N1 is just a tiny computer with a Bluetooth radio. Elon Musk will often say that it's basically just a Fitbit or smartwatch in your skull, and that's true. The N1 can record neural activity through every channel and transmit that data wirelessly into a computer. It can also work the other way and stimulate neural activity by injecting current into the brain through every channel. The idea is that through this stimulation, Neuralink can bypass the eye and generate a visual image directly into the brain. They would take a video feed from a digital camera that is streamed wirelessly to a smartphone, which would convert that image data into a neural signal and transmit that to the N1 implant, which would send that signal through electrical current directly into the neurons of the visual cortex. So, in addition to their Neuralink, the person would just need to wear a GoPro-style camera on their forehead and have a phone in their pocket. Obviously, this will require a profound understanding of how visual processing works inside the brain. And that's what Neuralink is working on figuring out right now. They have to decode the input and output signals that create a visual image. So how do you do that? Neuralink showed us 2 test monkeys with N1 implants wired into their visual cortex. And what they do is have the monkeys sit in front of a black screen and show them a series of white dots moving around to different locations. They use infrared eye tracking to know exactly where the monkey is looking on the screen. When the monkey looks directly at the white dot, he is rewarded with a sip of a banana smoothie. Using the N1, they can monitor exactly which neurons are activating as the monkey looks around. What they discovered was that every cell in the cortex is representative of a tiny part of the visual field. So, your perception of the world is a mosaic of signals from all of the neurons in your visual cortex.
Make more sense?
This is really good for Neuralink because it means that they can tie specific areas of the brain.
I don't know, man.
So they're replicating the image
into the brain.
Into the brain. They're just
so they're not actually seeing.
They're just sending electrical signals to that part of the brain that correlates to the actual image.
So that's what they'd see. Those dots.
It would start off as dots, but I mean, look at any of the TVs, anything we've ever invented.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They were super grainy. They were
right.
And even like 15 years ago, you know, you go back and you watch like footage of like an NBA game or a Super Bowl. It's kind of
grainy,
pixelated.
Yeah, it's
but
like
now you watch
staticky, right?
And it's like, wow, it's like I'm there,
right?
You know, or even like video games.
So I mean, this is just the beginning.
It's crazy. Like I just wonder what they're gonna do actually for like quadriplegics or people that are disabled in certain ways. Like, are they gonna be able to make them because they're already differently abled people, but like, are they gonna make them even more differently abled people? Like, are they gonna make them like Wyatt? Like Wyatt can't walk, right? But will Wyatt be able to like support himself and like sit up? You know what I mean? Maybe he won't ever be able to grab a fork and a knife and like cut a steak.
That's what
you
I'm
know
saying.
what I mean?
Maybe he will.
But maybe Wyatt will be able to pick up like a piece of steak off and like eat it.
Maybe he will though.
The only thing I want out of all of that, if Wyatt ever was able to get like a Neuralink, would be to be able to talk. That's it. Like, just have him like talk. Not even like a conversation. You know, I would love that, but it's not like that's what I expect. It'd just like be like, hey, did you have a good day today? Yeah. You know, like, hey, like I love you too. Like, that'd be awesome. I don't expect to like sit there and be like, hey man, what do you think about like Christian McCaffrey going for 150 today?
What if he can talk though?
That'd be so wild. But then I would actually wonder,
almost like in a Stephen Hawking form, even like
that'd be wild.
You know what I'm saying?
That'd be wild. Like if he could just like kind of sit there and like I'd ask him a question and it would just go through a computer like, hey Tom, I'm doing really good today. Right. I hope you are too. Like that'd be so crazy, bro. But at the same time, I would just love to hear like his actual voice.
Oh, that would be even, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
what do you sound like, bro? Because I know what you sound like when you laugh. You know, I know what you sound like when you like kind of babble at me. But like, what would you sound like if you went, hey Tom, I want ice cream, bro? You know, or let's get pizza.
Like, what would that sound like?
What would that sound like? And then at the same time, I would wonder how much of that's him and how much of that is Neuralink, like giving me what I want to hear.
I thought about that too. Almost like there could be like a negative to it. Not and maybe not necessarily like a negative, but like it's not 100%
him.
Yes, like it's
99%.
Maybe there's some
him.
kind of algorithm in there that produces, maybe it better articulates, or
What
maybe
he's
it
saying or
yeah,
feeling.
right,
You know, that'd be cool. Like, my biggest thing's always been like people say, well, it's okay because Wyatt's in his world, right? Like, but like I don't want him in his world. I want him in ours. You know what I mean? So like, what if the Neuralink takes him even out of his world and puts him in Elon's world? You know what I mean?
No,
I don't want him in Elon's world. I want him in mine.
What do you mean?
Like, so Elon's world, man, like he has access to everything.
I gotcha.
All the data. Like all of him. Like, and hey.
Or you're saying like also like Elon could maybe artificially influence some of his Wyatt's perspectives.
Correct. Like, oh yeah, well, hey, let's just say, let's say Wyatt gets it and he's had it for a while and they've updated him and updated the system on him and everything.
Updated him,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was shitty. Updated the system.
But I mean, that's
like
basically
that.
where you're going with
Yeah.
it. That's
and say Wyatt, like,
holy shit, bro. We are becoming cyborgs.
We are. But like, think about it. Like, Wyatt's 19 at this point, let's say.
Right.
Politics are on TV, right? And hey, we're coming on for another president, right? And Megan and I are talking, well, we really like him. You know what I mean? We really like him. But if Elon doesn't like that guy and Elon hears it, he can influence Wyatt to not like that either.
Man, that's real deep. But you know what?
But there's pros and there's cons to everything. And especially with Neuralink, there's going to be a pro, a con, and there's even going to be a new term invented for the middle ground. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there are a lot of things that, you know, are good that require sacrifice.
absolutely.
But like we talked about before, you know, with the terms and conditions on the TVs, you know, you got to sacrifice something.
A little bit of autonomy to get what you want. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just
And
literally accepting that they can watch what you're watching.
Right.
Or not even watch, but gather data on what you're watching. And as we discussed before too, I don't care if they do that, but give me the good stuff from that. You know, let me reap a reward from what you're doing. Because like we talked about Netflix last week, right?
Right.
Hey, man, you've been gathering data on me for 15 years now, and you still offer me dog shit on my suggested. Come on. Like, get me what I want, dude. And also, we're paying $27 a month.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about, you know, a brain implant. Are we ready to sacrifice some of those? At least right now we have an illusion. Some of us have an illusion of freedom of thought.
Mm-hmm.
If we get this, if people start getting Neuralink, I mean, then there's absolutely no illusion of freedom of thought.
Nothing. I mean, think about like we talked maybe,
especially if it's connected to a network.
Exactly. That's what we talked about a couple podcasts ago. Like
Right.
when I talked about anxiety with you and like Neuralink, I get that shit so that if I started having a panic attack, it could just boom right down and out, right? But they know what's triggering my anxiety. So what if they need to put me in a situation, you know, or what if they have these people and they're trying to control it? Like,
Flip side.
hey, guess
Flip
what?
side.
We know what makes this guy tick at this point. We know that he gets nervous about this. We're going to flood his thoughts all with that. All negative.
Bro, what if you don't accept the terms and conditions of your software update for your Neuralink?
So there was a kind of a movie about that. There's kind of a movie about that.
Is there?
Called Johnny Mnemonic
Mm-hmm.
with Keanu Reeves.
I feel like I've seen that.
I talked to you about it recently, where he basically is a guy that downloads information into his brain and brings it to other corporations and stuff, but he doesn't do a software update, and it just wreaks havoc on him, and he can be hacked and shit like that at that point. So if you don't update your terms and conditions, what if it's like Johnny Mnemonic, where someone can go in and hack your brain all your bank. Fuck getting your phone. You know, like at this point, my social security, I don't keep my social security. I don't even put the stuff, my social in on my phone. I do it at home on my laptop. You know what I mean? Because I have the VPN, I have the double encrypted everything. Dave from Pittsburgh taught me all of that, and it just has become old hat for me now, like to protect at home. I don't ever put my social in on my phone because just in case, right? But I know my social in my head.
Yeah.
So if they really want to get
You're
me,
not deleting it out of your head.
I ain't deleting it. No, I'm not. So hey,
You can't delete that file.
And what about this too, man? A lot of stuff in your memory. You know what I mean? Like, say you're 50 years old and there's these people that become like brain pirates and they want money from you.
That's what I'm saying.
At 50 years
you get
old,
hacked. Your brain gets hacked.
What's going to be some of the most precious things in your mind when you're 50? Memories of your parents that might have passed away, memories of locations. Hey, if you don't give us all this, we're just going to delete it. We're just going to delete it. And they could.
Yeah, then I guess you could delete memories.
But also, how cool would that be to delete memories? What about that heartbreak that you went through? You know what I mean?
Bro, are you trying to sell Neuralink?
Dude, I would love to sell Neuralink. I'd be a great Neuralink salesman. I'll sell you a Chevy, and then I'll sell you a Neuralink so that you can drive it with your thoughts.
There
you know
you
what
go.
I'm saying? Like, I'm just chilling in the back seat on my iPad, and like, oh shit, yeah, we gotta get up to 55. Look at it. Zzz, you know what I mean? Keep in the middle. You know, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. Neuralink's going to do some cool stuff. It's also going to be something that is going to be hotly debated and contested for a while. And I think that as we delve into that road, it's going to be very interesting. So thank you for sticking with us for this portion of our show. And now we're going to get into another portion of the show that's going to be a little bit more politically driven.
Where are we going next?
I think we need to hit
Number two?
Number two. So Ohio Representative Ishmael Muhammad won last night in the Ohio primary. He went and his entire acceptance speech was in Somalian. And Anthony and I were scrolling through on Twitter and we saw like some comments, we saw some videos, we saw some stuff, and it was I'm gonna say it was very right here.
So let's just go ahead and we'll take a look at
this.
So this is on Twitter.
It is
X. It's on X. And I guess this is this the acceptance speech?
This is his acceptance speech.
Okay, so let's take a look at the acceptance speech. All right, Tom, what do you say?
All right, so Ishmael Muhammad, a lot of people are commenting on that video, sharing it, saying that this is how you know you've been taken over. This is a slippery slope, and we're being infiltrated from the inside, that kind of thing. So Ishmael Muhammad's actually based in Columbus, and he's a very successful civil law attorney and represents people in the 3rd District.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very eloquent man. He's a very smart man. His acceptance speech was in Somali, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, he's a Somalian person. Just because he lives in Ohio and he's an American, right? Or he's doing business in America. I imagine he's a citizen, because I think you have to be a citizen to be a senator or in any form of office representing a state. I believe you do. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know either.
But
let's take a look. Go ahead.
I think people are making a mountain out of a molehill, because like one guy said, this is how you know you're being infiltrated. I don't take it that way at all, man, because like he's just proud of who he is and where he came from. It's his culture. Your culture doesn't die with you when you go somewhere. You know, I as a man who sells cars, so all members of the House must be U.S. citizens, reside in the districts which they're. So he is a citizen.
You have to be.
Have to be. Here's the thing, man. Like, I sell cars. Okay, I deal with so many people who speak different languages on a month-to-month basis, and they speak to each other in their language, right? Like, I don't know what they're saying, but I don't get offended. That's just them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, am I supposed to look at, like, so we have friends that bought cars from me, like Jose and Yvette, right? They bought cars from me, right? And they talking Spanish to each other in front of me. Am I supposed to just tell them, hey, stop doing that? We're in America.
No, and
No, and
I
that's
mean,
fucking ignorant.
all right, so here's my thing. I don't really care what language he said it in. I guess it depends on who he was talking to, and I guess the people. Yeah, I guess the people that he's talking to, right? Because
Those are clearly his people.
right. So if he's just with his family and he's at a party
Yeah.
and he's talking to, he's talking to his family, for his, his acceptance speech. Maybe he's thanking his family, stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing, and I wouldn't know what he's saying.
I wouldn't know either.
Right. So, but if he's making a public announcement to the people in his district,
That's a different story, but I don't think he
Right.
would ever do that.
I don't know. I don't know what that full video was. I don't know exactly who he was talking to, and I don't think there's really any more context than.
And also think about this, Anthony. Think about this. So look at Major League Baseball.
Oh, but here's another thing too. He campaigned almost entirely in Somali instead of English.
That's what they're telling you.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at his campaign. Let's see if we can find his campaign.
Think about guys that play Major League Baseball, and to some extent guys in the National Basketball Association, or UFC fighters or boxers, right? It's not really NFL because a lot of the guys in professional football are from America. But like I was telling you earlier today, before we started this podcast today,
Right.
that Shohei Ohtani, the guy that just signed with the Dodgers,
Yes.
right? The Dodgers just fired his interpreter because he was taking money from Shohei and covering his own gambling, not Shohei's gambling losses, but the interpreters, right?
Right.
Shohei Ohtani speaks pretty much exclusively in Korean or Japanese or Chinese, right? He's one of the richest men in baseball. He's rich as shit. Ichiro Suzuki didn't really speak English. Jose Ramirez from the Guardians, he doesn't really speak English. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, a
right?
lot of those baseball.
A lot of
players.
those baseball players are.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's not on them to always speak in our language just because they're in America. It's not on them.
No. And I'm not saying that he has to.
I know you're not, but what I'm saying is these people are making this big deal.
All right, but I think when you have a duty as a representative of the people, part of your duty is to speak to the people, right? Now
But he's also representing his people.
What, his Somalian people?
He's in my opinion, by him doing that, he's showing Somalians like, hey, like it's possible to make a great life over here, and it's possible
Right,
to
but here's the
become
thing.
an influential person.
What do you think in District 3? What do you think the primary language is?
American.
English.
Yeah, English.
Right. Okay. So if he's running his campaign entirely in Somali, how many of his constituents do you think are really even understanding what he's saying?
But also, is Columbus a big Somalian area?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't think he would win. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Maybe
here's like
must be those mail-in ballots.
it must be. Democrats are cheating. But you see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these like professional athletes, they're representing America, they're representing their team, which is based in America.
Yeah, but they're not. They don't have an obligation to the people.
Why don't they?
They have an obligation to the team.
Which is ran by the people.
No, no, it's not. It's ran by executives.
Many teams are owned by the city that they're in.
Yeah, but not to that extent. I mean, they still have GMs and CEOs.
That's right.
Right. So it's not. They might the stadium might be owned, but I mean, like, a city actually owning the team. Which city actually?
Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay.
Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
The citizens of Green Bay own the team.
So they reap the benefits of the income from that goes towards public funding.
Correct. So like at that point, if there was like let's just say like a Muslim individual that played on the team and he spoke in his
So wait a minute. So a Green Bay Packer is a government employee?
No, they're employee of the city.
That would be a government employee.
I guess I guess so. They're owned by So when you're born in Green Bay, as I understand it, and I might be wrong, but as I understand it, when you're born and you're a citizen of Green Bay, Wisconsin, you actually get a little like piece of paper saying you own 0.0000001% of the Green Bay Packers. And you can go to a board meeting. You can just go if you want. Like the city of Chicago tried doing it with the Chicago Bears a couple years ago, but the citizens just didn't go for it because they realized that they'd be on the hook for everything. Like, you want a new stadium, you're paying for it. Like that's why a lot of like baseball teams aren't owned by the citizens of that city, because I mean, think about the payroll. Like the New York Yankees, or no, the Los Angeles Dodgers spent $1 billion on salaries this offseason. Shohei Ohtani got a $500 and something million deal.
That's wild.
Like, crazy, right?
That's wild.
So getting back to this Ismail Muhammad, yeah, he has a duty to speak to the people he's going to represent in Columbus, but I don't think it's fair for people to go on and post a video that's clearly out of context and not giving you everything. I think it'd be more fair to say something like that if we had video of him just speaking Somali and pretty much saying like, hey, I ain't doing this in English, because I looked him up. His LinkedIn is completely in English. His website completely in English.
Okay, but also there's a and I don't know if this is the case, but a lot of times whenever you go to a website, your browser will recognize that website is in a different language, and it would translate it for you into English.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, so hold up. So I have Ismail Muhammad here. No, we don't want that. So
my whole thing, bro, is if he has an obligation to the people, and I don't know what his campaign looked like, but if he's actively, like, legit doing his whole campaign in Somali, for one, it's very surprising that he won if that was the case, and for two, I just don't understand how he would have got through to his people, to the people of his district.
His Twitter's completely in English.
Right. I have his Twitter pulled up right now.
Right here. So this is him speaking right here. He's talking to the Columbus crew.
Yeah,
he's talking all in English.
That's it. I did have it up. Oh, you know what? There it is.
I think it's pretty cool that he did it in Somali, because how many people come over from somewhere and just disregard who they were? You know, because they're American now.
To the Columbus Crew, the 2023 MLS Cup of Champions. This past weekend, the crew won the MLS Cup at home in our city and brought the cup home for the third time in our team's history and the second time in just 4 years. Some of you may remember that just a few short years ago, there was talk about moving the team from Columbus. The community.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
not
don't
like
know.
he doesn't speak English, you know?
No, he definitely speaks English.
And, oh, here, go up. Go up. Down a little. To there. Press release from my office. All in English. All in English.
That's a press release.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't say translated into English. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like this, that.
so
he's
we know the
obvious-
dude's for marijuana.
I mean, yeah, that's my whole point. Like, if your constituents mostly speak English, you have to go in there with English. So I don't understand why they're making it such a big deal that it was in Somali.
Like, who cares? It's not like he's
Unless
Middle
it's like,
Eastern.
and that's. I mean,
Not to
even
sound
if you,
jingoist there or xenophobic, but I mean,
even
isn't that the people that we generally worry about? I don't think Somalia is trying to take over the United States.
oh, some bad motherfuckers in Somalia.
No, there are, but I'm saying like that guy up there, he's like, this is how you know they're infiltrating.
No, I don't know if there's anything nefarious here.
I don't think there's anything nefarious.
and I don't know. I would need more context.
Like, let the dude live. And speaking of context, we thank you for talking about our newly appointed Ohio Representative Ishmael Muhammad. Congratulations, sir. We look forward to seeing what you do in our state in the future. But now let's talk about a guy who we already know what he allegedly did and how he's might not be as happy because in the state of New York, our former president and hopefully soon to be president, Donald J. Trump, has not made his $454 million payment.
Yeah, he has not made his 400.
He has not made that yet.
And I think he wrote to the judge and said that he wasn't going to be able to pay it on time.
So does he go to collections?
That is so okay, so that's a great question. I would presume that they're going to start seizing assets.
Yeah, because I think that's the first step, isn't it? Like, if you say that you can't, because, like, say you go to collections, like, they try to collect from you monetarily, and then the next step is assets. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, like, the next step. And then the third step is, like, putting a lien on, like, your car, your cars, your homes, your stuff like that. Like, there's steps to it. They can't just seize immediately. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not how that works. As I understand it. I could be completely wrong, but
Let's see if we can find.
hey, there's
something.
Rudy Giuliani. Dude, I forgot he was in the second Borat movie.
Was he?
Yeah. They filmed him in a compromising position. Like,
Oh yes, I did see that.
That's
Where he's like
crazy.
leaning back on the bed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh no.
No, I thought I saw something about Letitia James going to start seizing assets. So yeah, what does happen if Trump fraud?
What happens if Trump doesn't pay? Trump says posting $454 million bond in New York fraud case. Practical, is it going to say joke?
Impossibility. I
Oh,
think.
practical impossibility.
Yeah. Let's see if we can read this from Bloomberg.
They're pretty legit. Is it behind a paywall?
It is. Damn you, Bloomberg. We want the
I thought when
goods.
Bloomberg was free.
We want the goods. This is Vivek talks about Sir Bond clearly violates Eighth Amendment. Oh, this might be a good point here. Let's see.
Do it to anybody in the United States, and that's the best he can. But this proves that this isn't just about Donald Trump. It is about every American, because if they can do this to the 45th president of the United States, somebody who's running and I believe successfully will be the 47th president of the United States, then they can do it to anybody in the United States. And that Eighth Amendment was written for a reason. Historically, it's come up in the context of debates about the death penalty. But the reality is most of that Eighth Amendment relates to cases involving excessive bail, excessive fines, the $454 million ruling here in this case by a politicized Letitia James in a case where not a single victim was harmed. Every alleged victim made money from doing interactions with Donald Trump. And
everybody,
even people who weren't
got
just
their money
ordinary
back.
consumers, but sophisticated financial institutions, for that to be the bail in this kind of case is ridiculous, is offensive to our founding fathers.
Yeah, but
our founding fathers would agree, as I think the Supreme Court.
All right, I appreciate your input,
Vivek.
Vivek. But I want to know, mustn't be allowed to bankrupt Trump before he even gets appeal. In the name of the country. Can't post it. All right, so we'll check this out. So this is a little bit of news about him not being able to post his bail.
The world. Donald Trump's lawyers on Monday said the former president has been unable to obtain a bond to guarantee payment of a $454 million civil fraud judgment against him, despite trying to date with some of the largest suretors in the world. Even super rich people do not have $450 million in cash just laying around. New York has come after lending companies. If I ran JP Morgan or if I ran Goldman Sachs, there's no way I would get involved in this mess. I don't want my books getting investigated over what loans we may or may not be making.
One of the ways that they have always tried to put pressure on Trump is through effectively an unspoken, omnipresent boycott. They've done this very effectively in the legal profession. Not a lot of people talk about this. I think very few people even really know or pay attention to this. If you're at a top law firm, you are not allowed to work on any Trump-related issues.
I want more context, damn it. What happens if he doesn't pay it? Because he already said he can't pay it.
What happens if Trump doesn't pay?
Does anybody know? Anybody in the comments? We haven't even looked at the comments. We should probably check and see if we got any comments. Let's see, Tom.
No comments.
No comments. All right, that's cool. We got you. We got it.
Let's look. Here's what happens if Trump can't pay his $454 million bond.
What happens? Can you airdrop that link? You have a link right there?
Yeah. It's from NPR.
Airdrop it.
I just airdropped it to you. Sent.
Got her. All right.
So this is just basically going on and recapping right here. We're going to go down a little bit more. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. All right. What does Trump do if the appeals court doesn't rule his way?
No.
Oh, go up. Go up. Keep going. All right, here, go down.
James can begin enforcement of the judgment immediately after the 30-day grace period. Woo! Several, Trump restraining notice that would restrict his spending on areas until he pays his bond. The restraining notice would say, don't spend money, don't fill up your jet at the pump until you pay the state of New York or you'll be held in contempt of court. And that's Paula. I don't know who that guy is, but and my impression is that Engeron, the judge here in New York, would be quick to hold him in contempt of court. Yeah, that would surprise me. He said it's theoretically possible that James
could consider settling, especially if Trump were to write a check for something like $250 million. But short of that, he doesn't see any reason for her to proactively lower his bond, especially since she has the tools to go into banks and drain his accounts. The entire trial was effectively a roadmap to his financial assets, Pollock adds. She can now send out a sheriff or a marshal of the city of New York to go walk into a financial institution holding what's known as execution and empty his bank account short of $3,000, which is the statutory floor.
Wow.
Pollock acknowledges that Trump has said he doesn't have $450 million in cash, but he wants to stave off enforcement. He needs to find a way to raise it.
Wow. They could go drain his shit down to $3,000. That is wild. That is absolutely nuts. Do you think she'll do it?
No.
Dude, I do. I absolutely do. I think if she could go in there and drain his entire bank account, she would absolutely do it. Unfortunately, that's just the type of person Letitia James is. She ran her whole campaign on prosecuting him in some way, form or fashion.
No.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
So I do not doubt that she would just go drain his shit down. Watch, day 31
Someone's going to be
on
in
the
there.
31st day.
Yeah. Someone's going to be in that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm still just confused on how this all happened and how this all got to this point. Because they just expect this guy to come up with $450 million. But like they said, like most really rich people don't have that all in cash. It's in assets. It's in like
Property,
it's in like investments, it's
valuables, gold.
yeah, like
You know,
it kind of blows my mind, like
Bitcoin.
how do they not just seize the assets? You know what I mean? Like, oh, like just throwing out a random like name of something, but like Trump Tower, how do we not just take that?
Are you saying they should just take that?
No, but what I'm saying is if he can't pay it, like, hey, well, we evaluated this at $1.2 billion. You're going to sell that, and then you're going to give us the money, the $454 million out of that sale, and then you keep the rest.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that.
Why not?
I mean, I don't know.
Isn't that kind of like putting a lien on something, like a lien on a house?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess kind of, but I think we looked that up, wasn't it? You can't collect it on any profits
until that is paid.
Until the lien is paid, right?
Which means from the sale, like
yeah, but if they I don't think they can force them to sell it.
No, but I think it could be an option. Like, hey, like we saw this, like, go ahead and sell that, dude. Sell that, and then you can recoup your money the other way. Yeah, it's an interesting. It's an interesting.
I think if you're in a situation like that, I think you should be aware that that's an option. I mean, it's always an option, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
No, it's always an option. I mean, the other smart thing would be, don't let it get that bad. With debts or anything like that. Keep a record of what you do and pay your bills.
Yeah, but this is
sometimes life gets hard though.
But this is a different situation, though. I mean, this is somebody going after you for overvaluing your property, and then somehow you owe, even though you paid everybody back for the loans, you still owe New York $454 million.
Did you just think that no one was going to notice?
Notice what, though?
That he owed it? Or the alleged owe?
The overvalue?
Yeah.
I mean, even if he did overvalue it, nobody
held a gun to their head and said, buy it. You know what I mean?
Or like, give me a loan. This is, nobody said you can't value this property by yourself. Actually, I'm pretty sure there was a clause in the contract that, where the lenders basically agreed that they had to do their own due diligence to put a valuation on the property.
They always have to do their due diligence.
And if you're lending out money, why wouldn't you do your own due diligence?
Yeah.
But but it doesn't matter anyways. The lenders got their money back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really curious where the fraud part comes in. Like, and the valuation is kind of subjective anyways.
Yeah, valuation's going to be what you would pay for something. I mean, to you, this is a glass of water, but I mean, if I were really thirsty, I'd give you $5 for some water. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
is the city of Ashtabula going to come at you because you charge me $5 for some water? You know what I mean? When in all reality, it costs 10 cents to run your fridge.
Yeah. I mean,
For
so
the
I don't
8
understand.
seconds that it
I don't
took to fill
understand
it?
the whole fraud thing.
No.
So, but we'll see what happens. Day 31, we'll be looking forward to it to see.
I'm interested to see.
I'm interested to see too.
It's going to be an interesting time. And
It's
speaking
kind of scary though
it is kind of scary.
that they can just go after him with such.
Well, Vivek said it the best, though. I mean, this sets a standard for the American people. You know, like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's scary. Like if they can do that to him, just kind of make up these charges and these numbers out of thin air and charge him with it and get the guilty or and found liable and have to pay all that money.
but see, I thought debt was a
Ooh.
civil crime, not a criminal.
Yeah, that was a civil lawsuit.
He can't go to jail for that.
No,
No, you can't go to jail for civil debt. Like,
right.
people are making it sound like he's a criminal. Debt is a civil thing. It's not a criminal thing. This isn't 1800s England where they had debtors jail. You know what I mean? Like, so people are making this mountain out of a molehill, man, and making it bigger than it needs to be. Like, hey, I understand, like, that stuff is scary and like it's confusing, and it's kind of like doing your taxes. Like, if you do your taxes, that's what you're supposed to do, right? But did I do it right? I don't know. We have to wait 5 years till we audit you. Well, what happens if I didn't do it right? Well, you're in trouble. Well, how can I make sure I did it right? Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Get an audit.
Yeah, just like
It's a circular. It's a circular logic.
It is like, okay, like, well, we're gonna do it this way. Okay, well, why did I have to pay that to the state to the state of New York? Well, we're not really sure, but you needed to. Okay, well, how can I not get in trouble for this? We don't know, but we're gonna have a guy just pull some numbers out of thin air, and that'll figure it out.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's wild. It's all wild.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, it doesn't trickle down.
I hope it doesn't either. Jesus H.
But anyhow, let us know what you think. Thank you guys so much for joining us on that little segment about Trump and his unpaid dues, and we'll see what happens on day 31.
Day 31 coming up.
And now we are going to move on to our last segment because we gotta get going here soon. But so we're gonna kind of make it a little quick. Tom,
Yo.
these children, man, these children.
Yeah.
So we have some more allegations going down.
That's not Diddy.
That's not Diddy, not Epstein, but still dealing with these kids.
And it came from a kid's
Something
network.
something that we grew up watching.
We literally grew up watching these people. This wasn't after our time.
No.
This was our time.
Yes.
They were 3-4 years older than us. Like, so for,
Nickelodeon.
yeah. For those of you who don't know, there was a documentary that just came out called Quiet on the Set. It's about the 1990s and a gentleman named Dan Schneider who took over Nickelodeon Studios with some of the very popular shows at the time, and he made some very popular shows also. But arguably, the show that he was most known for was All That, which was like a Saturday Night Live for kids.
I loved all that.
Dude, All That introduced me to hip hop.
Yeah.
LL Cool J, Missy Elliott, all of them.
Yeah, it was a very
very progressive show at the time.
it was a great show.
It was.
I freaking loved all
It was legitimately Saturday Night Live for kids.
Good Burger came from.
Good Burger. The Pierre Escargot, the guy in the bathtub. Principal William Bange Pimpal. Then the cooking show with Kenan Thompson where he cooked with the chocolate.
A lot of great skits.
Fantastic show.
But just I mean he Dan Schneider made a lot of good shows.
He
a lot
made
of
a lot of
shows that
good
I
shows.
enjoyed.
He made Drake and Josh. He made the Amanda Show. I mean, and for all intents and purposes, like, they were quality shows, and he got the best out of those kids, because let's not let's not make light of the situation. What was alleged in there was disgusting, but
So
those
so
kids
I haven't-
made good quality TV.
So break it down. What exactly was? I didn't watch I've watched most of the first episode. There's 4 episodes.
So it's not all about Dan Schneider.
Okay, only the first episode is Dan Schneider.
The whole thing's about Dan Schneider. He's in every episode, the stuff they talk about.
Wait, I thought you said not the whole thing is.
Correct. So here's the long and short of it. So
Okay.
Dan Schneider comes in, he makes these shows, he finds the kids, he kind of attaches himself to a few. Okay, one of them's Katrina Johnson, who was she played the judge in a couple of those skits and had the big nose and everything.
Yes.
And she ended up developing a little bit sooner than other girls, right? And by all accounts, she's a very attractive woman now. Like, and she was beautiful even when, not in a sexual way, but like a beautiful young girl, you know? But as she started developing, Dan Schneider's like, you got to get out of here, because we can't have that on our show. So then he brings in Amanda Bynes, who becomes insanely popular, dude.
I remember Amanda Bynes.
Insanely
Yeah, absolutely.
popular. And there's stuff where, like, he got real close with her. He was always next to her. He was always hugging her. He was in a hot tub with her one time. Like, shit like that. And so that was some of the sexually, like, charged things that were, like, talked about. But then there was, like, allegations of, like, racism. So there was, like, this younger African-American kid that wasn't Kenan Thompson. Surprisingly, they didn't talk about Kenan at all on that.
But didn't Kenan come out and say some shit too?
I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. But this one black kid was like, you know, they wanted to make me a rapper. They wanted to make me, you know, I was selling chocolate to someone, but I was selling chocolate on the street corner, and I kept going, shh, come on, man, come on. Like, making him look like a thug pretty much. So that was Dan Schneider's thing. He perpetuated stereotypes, and he was kind of creepy a little. Some of the shit he did was kind of creepy. He was real into feet, and there's a lot of feet things on there, right? Like, on all that. But then we start hearing about some other people. And there's this one guy, his name's Brian Peck. Brian Peck was like a vocal coach, kind of an acting coach, and he got close to someone in Nickelodeon that was a young boy, and he started to hang around him a lot. And then this young boy says, you know, well, I want to hang out with him because, you know, I'm getting somewhere. I'm gonna have my own show here soon. I'm becoming more popular than I've ever been before, you know? He gets woken up by this guy sexually assaulting him, because this kid lived in, like, Orange County, and the Nickelodeon studio was an hour away. So when they were shooting, he would stay there, right? Because, like, they were tight, right? Later on, this young man goes on and he says, I was 15 years old, and I was sexually assaulted. And the lady on the interviewer, yeah, she's supposed to do, goes, can you get into that a little bit more? And he just looks at the camera and says, I don't really know how to elaborate more on that. And she goes, okay, well, what can you describe? And he said, and it was the most, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not, like, I can't really, like, say it like how he did, but he's like, imagine the most graphic and disgusting thing that could be done to a 15-year-old boy that would hurt and that would be humiliating, and multiply it by 2. He said, that's what happened to me. And it was consistent. And dude, like, my heart broke for this kid. Broke. Because think about, like, we just talked about it. We were kids watching that show, right? We laughed. We thought it was funnier than hell, right? What happens when a lot of people tune into a show? The ratings are through the roof.
Right.
What keeps shows on the air? Ratings. So by us liking and watching that show, we continued to allow that culture of misconduct and violence to go. Now,
No, we didn't allow it.
Now, getting back to Dan Schneider, when this happened, this young man was like dragged. There were like big Hollywood stars, Taron Killam, James Marsden, Ryder Strong, Will Friedle, those guys, and they wrote letters of support for Brian Peck. Like, oh, I've known him forever. There had to have been some coercion, and Brian just broke, like sticking up for him. Dan Schneider is the only person that called that kid that was molested, and said, what happened? And he told me, he said, I'm so sorry, I had no idea, but I'm going to tell you what, he's done. He's gone. Don't ever worry about it again, and I'm here if you need anything. So, which made me think a little bit. I'm not excusing what Dan Schneider did, because if what he did is actually happened, that's disgusting. But would an actual sexual predator, or someone who was like actually like a violent sexual predator, call and sympathize with a kid and not want anything from him or nothing, but actually just be the only person to reach out to him? Because at this point, Dan Schneider is not working really with Nickelodeon anymore. He stands to gain nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you would think not.
You would think not.
You would think not. But
and again, I'm not excusing what was alleged.
So that would bring up, another question if that was the truth. So if that's true, that kind of discredits a lot of the Dan Schneider stuff. So I don't understand why they would put out a documentary that kind of highlights both sides of that.
Because Dan Schneider was actually, it wasn't just to kids though. Like Dan Schneider, it details in there that Dan Schneider was kind of a creep to people that worked with him. He was very demanding. He was very vocal about what he wanted. He would humiliate people if they didn't do what he said. And I'm not excusing that, but we've worked with people. You and I worked for someone that was that way. If something wasn't done his way, he was calling you out. Black Friday, if you took because remember, they told us you are going to be working 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. You are required to take an hour break. And we would go back there to take that hour break. He'd flip. You need to be back out on the floor. We worked with a guy that was very demanding and would kind of hold things against you, or if you kind of confided in him, he'd weaponize it later. He would do that. Maybe not to you, but I mean, I experienced it.
Yeah, I never had no issues.
I experienced it, and I know other people that did. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but that's just what people that demand excellence do, because they want the best out of you, and sometimes you have to intimidate to get the best. You really do. I don't think that that's appropriate, but I understand that it happens.
Right.
But the other thing that he would do, he would ask females for massages on set. Not the girls, but the writers. Hey, if you give me a massage, I'll get that skit on the air. You know what I mean? He would do shit like that. This Dan Schneider guy. That's fucking creepy, dude. There's a lot of shit that was creepy that he did. Do I think he was a child molester? No, I really don't. I think he was a weird fuck. I think he was very weird. But the main thing that it was weird though, because we're talking about how he's a creep.
Mm.
These kids would talk about it too, but the kids also said, my parents were always on set. Nothing was ever done unless my parents were there. And that kind of gave me pause too with Dan Schneider, because this Brian Peck guy that molested one of the young men didn't ever want the parents around. He weaponized the parents against the kid.
Mm.
Dan Schneider never did that. Those parents were there, and those parents that were interviewed will tell you.
So what was the outing of Dan Schneider then? What was so
that he's just a creep?
Yeah, a lot of people are creeps.
Yeah. You want to know something really fucked up about Brian Peck though? He went to jail for 6 months.
For
gross sexual imposition and sexual assault on a minor.
Oh, shit.
You want to know the most fucked up thing? Less than a year after he was released, a guy that worked at Nickelodeon was helming a show called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Disney. He hired him to come and work on the show. He hired him.
He hired
Brian Peck to come and work on that show.
after a year after he got released.
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
Here's the most fucked up part, though, dude.
Wow.
2 little boys were the main character. And this fucking director guy alleges, oh, I had no idea. I just said, hey, I heard that you went to, is everything okay? Yeah, it's all taken care of. It was a big misunderstanding. It's all taken care of. I promise it'll never happen again. What the fuck?
Well, they should be able to look up and see if he's a...
Now, this was back in like 2006,
Kitty
though.
diddler.
So this wasn't like you couldn't like just go on your phone and type the shit in. You know what I mean? At the same time, though, if you're working at the Disney Channel, bro, like
they got pool. They
you
can
got
figure
some
that shit
pool.
out. They
you
can
need
figure
to
that shit out.
You need to vet these people because
They
all
knew.
it is kids.
They knew.
They had to have. And it's just more shit that we're seeing today of kids being put in positions that like they shouldn't be in. And everyone has wanted to talk like this is a new thing for so long. And like, because we look at the past with rose-colored glasses. Oh, well, man, this is nothing like it was when I was a kid. You're right, because it was fucking worse when we were kids if this shit was going on.
Yeah, but all right, so
Because
as
at
far,
least these kids have the internet now to get it out.
So as far as the whole Dan Schneider stuff, a lot of there would just be a lot of subliminal messages.
Things, yeah.
Messages within stuff that he would make,
Yeah.
right? Some of it, like I said, I didn't make it through the entire first episode yet, but some of the images that or scenes, right?
Yeah.
If you're an adult, you're gonna look at it and be like, "Whoa, that's a little wild." But if you're a kid and you have no idea, you're just gonna think it's funny.
Exactly.
But that's been happening since the beginning. I mean, go back and look at a lot of the Disney shit.
That's been happening forever.
I know.
But that's why
here's-
I'm agreeing with what you're saying, yeah.
But is it bad? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a kid and you don't know it's subliminal, you're not gonna get it, right?
I think here's
Is
the
that
difference.
is that bad?
I think here's the difference. So they showed a scene with some show that Jamie Lynn Spears was on, Britney Spears' younger sister. I don't remember the name of it, but evidently it was a pretty big show at the time. And they were trying to open something up, and they couldn't. And when they did, it blasted on Jamie Lynn's face, and it looked like a cum shot on her face, right? Kid's gonna think that's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, they fucking got her. You know what I mean? But like as an adult, like now being a parent and watching like a show, I'd be like, oh shit. You know what I mean? But then go look at like a show like Rocko's Modern Life, which was right around that same time, right? Rocco would do like they went to the Choky Chicken to eat food. We know that was a hilarious name when we were kids. And like I remember my dad laughing at it, and now I know why, because my dad got that it was a jerk off.
But
joke.
that's
But
what I'm
that's the
saying.
difference. It was a cartoon. It wasn't happening to kids, like actual kids.
I understand.
The cartoon aspect, I think, separates it.
And I, like I said, that's why I said some of the scenes are just like kind of
Disgusting.
unacceptable. For
Ariana,
sure.
did you see
Yeah,
the thing about
the one
Ariana
with-
Grande with
That's what
potato?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like that's unacceptable. Like
Gross.
shit like that. But like some of the other shit, like you can put stuff into a scene and make it subliminal. Now the whole like on kids' faces, you know what I'm saying?
Gross.
Like that's
When I was a kid, I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious, but now looking at it, because I was watching those clips on the show, and I was like,
But
what
can
the
we?
fuck?
But also, can we just take it for what it is? Like, can we just take it for,
No.
like, what
Knowing
was it
what
like
we
as
know
a
now.
syrup?
Knowing what we know now.
Yeah, but
no.
I mean, shit just squirts in people's face all the time. You ever open up a ketchup packet and you got it on your shirt or got it in your face or
I've
like,
gotten it on my shirt, but I've never had something explode on my face where it just like goes down like that, like a
Right.
fucking Riley Reid scene. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand that, but like the possibility of something getting on your face is there,
Absolutely.
right? And
but it never
they're
happened
gonna
to a little
over
boy. It always happened to a pretty young girl.
Oh, I don't. I see. I don't know. I didn't.
I
guess I didn't get
recounted
that
it,
far.
dude. Like I thought about it. I was like, man, like that never happened to like Keenan. That never happened to Nick.
Maybe
Cannon.
it did.
I'm pretty sure it didn't. Like
I'd have to go. You'd have to go through and watch everything because a lot of shit happened.
that Amanda Bynes got a lot of shit on her face. That Katrina Johnson girl got a lot of shit on her face. Ariana Grande literally was laying on the bed and like there was water being poured on her and it was like so sexual looking now as an adult. And I'm like, bro, she's 13, man. Like this ain't even cool. Like,
Right. No, that's what I was saying. A lot of that shit's unacceptable. But also, they're showing us that shit out of context as well. They're showing it the context that they're putting it in.
They have to put it in their context, or you're not going to have a good documentary.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if we watch that whole clip from beginning to end within the context of the storyline behind the clip, I mean, would it really look like it then?
Who knows?
You know what I'm saying?
But you would have to go back onto like Paramount Plus and you'd have to watch the episode.
Right.
You'd have to, because it's the thing about Nickelodeon shows that were so great, and I think that were so set them apart from so many different channels and shows, was everything in an episode tied together. You know what I mean? So if there was like that thing blowing up, like it probably started from the beginning of the episode and it was a running joke throughout the entire episode. It wasn't like Disney.
Maybe.
Excuse me. It wasn't like Disney Channel where just like something just happens and then they move on, because Disney Channel's for like kids with like ADD. You know what I mean? It was boom, 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 boom. Nickelodeon always had a structured story, and that's why I liked it so much, because it really was crazy. But you can also see though, Anthony, like, so Dan Schneider came in with all that,
Right.
okay, and that's when he kind of the Schneiderverse, right? Look at shows before Dan Schneider, like Clarissa Explains It All, or Are You Afraid of the Dark, or Salute Your Shorts, those type of shows, right? I mean, I watched those shows recently, like with Wyatt, like being on vacation. Like, hey, let me show you like a show I used to watch. Oh my God, it's there. And like we watch it. There's nothing like that in those shows, man. There's nothing like that in those shows. Like in Clarissa, there's not one thing that explodes on her face. There's not one fucking water bucket that just drips right onto her shirt. You know what I mean? There's nothing like that. It's much more clean. It's way more clean. Like the humor. And more wholesome in a way. Like it wasn't trying to make you laugh just to make you laugh. It was like building up the joke over the whole episode, and then you're laughing your ass off. But like all that was just like, I need to laugh right now. So what can we do that's fucking weird and wacky to make you laugh right then? You know? Like,
yeah, I don't know, brother. It's some shit to really think about. You know, and pay attention to for future.
Past repeats itself. Disney Channel's got some weird shit now. I mean, they really do. As a dad who has a son that watches Disney, I mean, it's gotten way better. Like there's shows like Bluey now, which is just the most wholesome thing I've ever watched. Big City Greens, that's got some lewd humor in it, but it's not over the top. You know, but
bro,
really the most
people made a big deal out of Teletubbies.
That fuckers were weird.
Yeah, but they legit didn't talk at all. But people were always saying like the purple one was the gay one. You know what I'm saying?
My wife
There's always somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like we gotta pay attention, but also look at everything in context.
Yeah, like that's what Megan said yesterday about Barney. She said, because Barney was one of her favorite things growing up.
Right.
And she goes, they were saying Barney was the freak. Really, all he was doing was teaching kids wholesome shit and hugging them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what you do to a kid. You hug them.
Yeah.
I was a kindergarten teacher, bro. I hugged those kids every day. And there wasn't anything weird about it. They were just little kids. Some of them didn't have a dad. Some of them didn't have, you know, parents that cared. You know, you got to be that person for them. And I think Barney doing that shit showed kids, hey, it's okay if it's not your mom or dad, but if it's someone that you and your family trust, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like I would have no problem with you hugging Wyatt. No problem. Just like I know you'd have no problem if Gianni was down and out about something and you were and he was down here and you ran upstairs like, okay, man, can I have a hug? Yeah. Like, come on. You know, like, fuck it. Why not? You know? Because you got to care about the kids, but Nickelodeon sexualized it in a way. And it's sad. It's really sad. Like, a whole generation of shit that we loved is built upon
great shows,
sexualization.
I don't know. I gotta finish the.
Please
the series.
do,
I'll
and
finish
tell
it.
me how you feel about
I will.
it. Because
and if you've watched it already, let us know what you thought about it, because I'm still going through it. So I'm gonna let y'all know maybe next week.
Absolutely.
Maybe next week.
Next week I want to forward. In fact, no, don't tell me what you think about it. Tell me next week. Tell me next week.
Okay, we'll see if I can remember that. Wow.
I'm going to tell you what, I think a good topic for next week, and let us know what you guys think. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out right now that's being remade. There's a lot of remakes that are coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do things always need to be remade? I think that would be a good topic for next week. Do you need to remake anything? Like, do remakes need to exist? Like, Roadhouse comes out tomorrow. Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor in the Patrick Swayze movie.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men cartoon from when we were kids just got kind of like a sequel type thing 28 years later. You know, we're banking on nostalgia there. I mean, Alien. Remember Alien? With the Ridley Scott movie about that black alien, right?
Yes.
With Sigourney Weaver. That's getting a kind of a sequel remake type thing coming out. The trailer just
What's old
dropped
is
for
new,
it.
bro. Everything's coming back.
Why? And why does it need to happen? Or why should it not happen?
Nostalgia. I don't know.
We just talked about nostalgia though. We look at stuff with rose-colored lenses until we actually look at it.
They haven't been accused of any pedo yet.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's not Roman Polanski.
So once that happens, we'll see what goes down. But until then, we are going to sign out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate your viewership. We appreciate your support. I am Anthony. This is Tom. And we're out. Peace.